attaching to. But the more hardcore comics, the more graphic novel type people like the DC universe for that, because they can go, oh yeah, he's going to just rip them apart. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And in the Marvel world, it's like, oh look, he just blew up that tank, whoopee-doo, and just keep on going. So,
yeah, I know that Marvel had an online game, DC had an online game, and it's called DC DC Universe Online. I'm not sure about what Marvel was called, but I hear more people. I hear more and see more about DC Universe Online than I do about the Marvel. I'm not sure if it's because it sucks or I'm just around.
Well, it depends on what platform it runs on too. I mean, if you're talking computer gaming or console gaming, where that may fall into play.
Yeah, I play DC Universe on the PlayStation 3, and it's a fun game. I'm not one of those like online players like that, but it's a fun game. And I played it also on the PC. If I get a chance, I will try to look up the Marvel one and kind of make a comparison between the two. But as far as the Marvel, I haven't heard anything on that one. I've seen it them 2 or 3 times, and I ain't heard nobody say anything about it.
I've actually never even heard anything, to be honest. I knew there was a DC world, but I really didn't know there was a Marvel version out there. I was just trying to see if I could find it real quick while we were talking and see what they called it.
But I don't know.
I'm not even seeing. I see the Infinity series and several other games we were talking about earlier, but I don't really see anything unless it's called Marvel Heroes. Yeah, Marvel Heroes. Marvel Heroes MMO. I think that's
okay.
Yeah, so they're adding some extra characters to that. So again, I really had no idea that didn't even exist. So very interesting. I may have to explore that and see what they got on there.
I know DC came out with their own version of like Ultimate Avengers, except it was the Justice League characters, and it was really good. The only fault I kind of had with it, the only 2 problems I had with it was, you can only play 2 characters at a time, and then half the levels, the characters are already picked for you.
Yeah, see, I really like where, you should be able to walk in there and get a pool of characters. A good 10, 15 characters right off the bat. You should be able to jump in and then make them either grow or get access to other characters.
I mean, like you said, you got a decent roster of characters, but like certain levels, like the first level that you play, you always play as Batman or Superman. And when you start the game over again, that level is already pre-established for you to play those 2 characters. And then like the other half of the levels, they'll be like, okay, you can pick whoever you want.
Okay. Yeah.
They have a pretty good roster. And only problem I might have had with the roster is they had 3 Green Lanterns. Attacks. They all did the same attacks.
Probably Hal Jordan and the rest of the guys that have played the Green Lantern in their series that we know of.
Yeah, we had all 3 of those guys, but they all did the exact same attacks.
Ugh, awful. Each of them was defined by their ability to use the lantern ring, and each of them was a different style, a different character, a different attitude in some cases, if you read the actual Green Lantern series. And I think if they had rolled that into the character, at least in this case talking about Green Lantern, that may have made a huge difference in their character play there.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about the live action movies. We talked about the animated movies. We talked about the video games. And let's see. Marvel took the movies. DC take the animated movies. DC also takes the video games. So let's talk about television. First, we're going to jump into the live action television. What do you think about who do you think is running lead more on this one? And me personally, I'm starting to say, okay, it's about even.
Well, you're losing some of the Marvel series, and they're trying to expand it. You lost Agent Carter. They ceased that one. You still have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then you have, with the CW, though, you have a lot of shows. You have The Flash, you have Green Arrow, you have Legends of Tomorrow, and they take actually they even expanded their character series in that too. So you're starting to see some of your Justice League's characters show up in there. You got Hawkman, Hawkwoman in there
Mm-hmm.
now. So
Yep.
as for character wise, I think the DC on the CW, their shows, including Supergirl, now it's moved over to the CW. I think
Mm-hmm.
DC really kind of takes at least the majority
Like a
of.
small,
Well, I
like
think
a
they're
small
taking.
lead.
Yeah, it's not by much, but they do have a lot of shows, and they're keeping their
Yeah.
shows fresh. They keep adding to their shows. Whereas Marvel has got the same shows, and I think Marvel's trying to expand that. But then you see like the Netflix series with Jessica Jones coming in there, Luke
That was
Cage
a
coming
really
out
good
there,
series. Yeah.
and Daredevil's out
Daredevil.
there. So you not you have a lot of media. So with those added, I would say we're kind of even right now. But I think Marvel's
Yeah.
kind of losing that edge a little bit because they're gonna have to come out with something new, or yeah, they're gonna have to bring out something newer than what they have. I mean, they're bringing out some, who's January? I don't know who's Luke Cage again. Characters that we have not seen on any screen or any of the movies. These are
And
what would be
yeah,
considered
they're making them
obscure.
prevalent. Yeah. I
Daredevil,
totally
we've
agree.
seen we've seen two movies with Daredevil, so I mean he's out there. Um, but I would say right now DC has a very slight edge at the moment on their TV series, live action TV series. Although I'd like to
I
see.
think, yeah. Oh, okay, what do you think about it? Whose strategy is working more? You have DC. I mean, DC. Go with DC. You have Marvel, who's making their television shows, but they're incorporating it with cinematic universe with the movies. But
Exactly.
then you have DC, who are they're just kind of they're doing that like all their shows are doing their own little thing. Who do you think
Exactly. I mean,
is
they're
able
crossing over
to?
on their own series, though. If you've watched, you've seen the Flash
Yeah.
crossover with Green Lantern, and you've seen the Flash crossover with Supergirl. This
Yes.
last season. So in their own little DC TV universe, they're
Mm-hmm.
crossing over, and I think that will help them eventually. Because we've seen also like some of the characters from DC Universe, excuse me, not DC Universe, from Green Arrow crossover into the Legends of Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Yeah.
So we've
And
already
they had
seen
that
that.
show Constantine.
I love
Constantine was
Constantine.
a part of that too.
I love
I
Constantine.
haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, that
I
Constantine
have
was a
not
lot
seen it
better
yet.
series. I mean, I did enjoy the movie,
Yeah.
but the TV series allowed to expand more on that character, and you got more background on the character.
Yes.
And it was definitely when you get a chance to catch up on it, I think it's on Netflix right now. It may not be there for much longer, but I did enjoy that series. But I like the fact that they are crossing over in their own TV verse. They're not going hitting the
Yeah.
movies. They're not bouncing anywhere in the
Yeah.
movie world. In fact, actually, the characters that play in the Flash on the TV series, CW series, is not going to be the same
Yes.
character you see in the DC movies.
Yes.
Cyborg is not the same character. They're not. The people are entirely different. And they're trying to keep those two worlds separated, with the core
Yes.
character the same, but the actors and
Bit of the storyline might be
the
changed up a bit. Yeah.
storyline will probably change slightly. I mean, if you read the comics, you know how the characters originate, but for TV they indulge a little bit here and there. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But I do like the fact that they are crossing over in their little worlds. Marvel has crossed the line between TV and movies. Again,
Yes.
they're looking to bring those. They're bringing that audience into their whole what they call the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. So you
Yeah.
see Agent Coulson was in the movies. You see Agent Coulson, Agents of Shield, and you can relate to that character, and they keep the storylines tied together. I think that works for
Yes.
Marvel, and it brings their people in to watch the movies because you want to see what happened. Because when you watch Agents of Shield season 2, when Hydra had made their big move and everything, you saw that related into the series.
Yes. Yes.
Whereas we watched the DC shows on CW and Netflix, and we don't see any of that crossover stuff. I mean, they're just now starting their storylines of getting the Justice League forming, but we've actually seen the Justice League, kind of start forming up. And I was trying to remember which one of the series they had a brief introduction to the Justice League, but it was actually before it was JLA. It was I can't remember the organization they were before the Justice League, but they had the original Star Spangled Banner Man and some of the other obscure characters, but they had all those folks mentioned in there, and of course you saw the Hawkman armor and stuff that was in there.
Was it like Justice Friends of America or something like that?
I think it was something very similar to that, but you saw a very brief introduction to that in that series, knowing what the future is going to be bringing. You just saw the old school guard when they were back in the 1950s and 40s.
Yeah.
And not the 1960s and 70s, and now currently in the 2000s where we see a more updated Justice League. So I think DC takes the lead.
I think they're doing a pretty good job.
I think the DC in this case is going to take at least the lead so far in their live-action TV series.
Yeah, and this even includes the older ones, because both of them, both companies have been actually having their own series from even back in the day. The Incredible Hulk, The Flash, Wonder Woman, Lois and Clark, Smallville. They've all had their, you know what I'm saying? They've all had, they've been keeping up. I would give it to them. They have been keeping up.
Yeah, they put a lot of good series out there.
I'm still torn between. I'm still saying they're about even. Even though I'm agreeing with you that DC is a bit higher.
Yeah, they have definitely had a lot more.
As far as the live action, yeah. And so as far as the live action series go, we'll just go ahead and just mark that off for DC. So what about the animated television shows? Batman the animated series, Spider-Man the animated series, X-Men the animated series, Superman the animated series.
There is a lot of animated TV series. I can't even tell you how many I watched at one given time. I have,
again, I'm kind of torn.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm kind of in between on that one because I've watched many series as a kid, as an adult, and even as of late, they're still producing a lot of good series. I would say they're probably going to be about even Steven at this point right now, unless they throw something totally out there. Either one decides to throw some obscure character and bring it to life. Right now, I think they're all sticking to their core characters. I mean, most of what you see now is Avengers or JLA or Batman or Spider-Man solo.
Especially Batman. Batman and Spider-Man, I think, are actually like the most long-running.
Those are the two forerunners in the animated series. I can go back at least 6 or 7 versions in my head of both series, Spider-Man in any form or fashion, and Batman in any form or fashion. So, I'm definitely going to say they're going to be pretty well even in this match.
So in terms of popularity, who do you think is going to be more popular, Spider-Man or Batman? Just asking.
I'm more of a Batman fan. And I think more people relate to the Batman as the badass, come out of the shadows, take you out, and get rid of you. Where they see Spider-Man as as he is in the comics, a lighthearted and smart ass. They kind of can relate to him. But this, I think most people will. I think more people would probably like the Batman versus the Spider-Man. Although I do like the live act or the movie versions. Prior to the last two, where Tobey Maguire actually played Spider-Man. First one was great, second one was great, third one should have never been made because that was just a joke. I mean, I love the Green Goblin when he came to life, and Willem Dafoe came in there and started doing that cackling. I got goosebumps. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about hearing that as he comes in. Dr. Octopus
played it.
Oh man, he played him very well, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then we came in with the second episode, we had Doc Ock, who was kind of a victim of tragedy here. He wasn't really kind of trying to be a bad guy, but he wasn't really being a good guy either. And when Doc Ock showed up, and you started, hearing him walk with those robotic arms, and you felt them hit the ground in the theater, and you're like, whoa, here he comes. And how it was.
I think another thing that made him such a pronounced I guess you could say antagonist. Well, just how versatile he was, because he seemed to be able to wherever Spider-Man could fight on, he could fight on.
Yeah,
Spider-Man could walk on walls. He was on the walls too.
Exactly. His arms had an artificial intelligence in them, and that was helping him compensate. Well, I mean, he was already a smart guy anyway. He may not have been battle hardened, as
Yeah.
Spider-Man has been in the past, but I mean, he nailed him to the wall. I mean, literally several times in that series, and it was great and loved it, and it was awesome. You know, bringing those characters like that to life, it was amazing. But the third movie,
Alpha Molina did play a great job.
oh yes, I was
The
very
third,
pleased.
yeah,
That third movie, no, that should
it's
have never
one of
been made.
those. It was one of those movies where they had good plots in it, but they tried to fit them all together. If those
That,
plots would have been like three separate movies, then it would have worked.
yeah, exactly. I
Those
mean,
could have been three.
yeah, Sandman
Yeah,
would have been a great by himself, or Venom by himself, you know. But they tried to throw so many characters in there, and then when they re-imaged the series and got rid
yeah.
of Tobey Maguire and it went to a whole new ball game, I was kind of borderline.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, and I'm like, I like the fact that they had the Sinister Six kind of highlighted in there in the background, and I
Yeah,
would love to see that same character, same style of movie with the Sinister Six in it. But I'm not
yeah.
sure how they're going to do this, third iteration of the new guy. I just don't know
He
how it's
played
going
a
to be.
really
I
good
mean,
role. He played pretty cool in Civil War. I got to give it to him.
yeah, and he was good in there. I'm not sure how they're going to pull off. I think the primary bad guy in this next series is going to be the Vulture starting, which they might actually try to bring in the Sinister Six, which I think eventually they will. Probably not in the first
Yeah,
movie, but will again introduce a few characters like they were doing in the second series of the movies with Andrew Garfield, and we might see
yeah,
because they introduced the Rhino, but you saw kind of in the background you saw Doc Ock's arms. You saw the
yes,
they brought in the Rhino armor. You saw the Vulture wings. You
yes.
didn't see
Yeah, they
any.
definitely tried. They tried too much with that one. I did like it. I liked the potential that it had because I liked the a character of Electro,
Yeah, Electro
and
would have been
that was
great.
certain. Yeah,
Um,
like on his own.
yeah, without having too many people floating in there and adding to it. Obscure characters again. Mysterio, bring him
Hmm.
in. He would have been a great character. In fact, I wish they would bring him in the forthcoming movies because he was part of the Sinister Six at one time. So
I would love for them to bring in the Shocker. Shocker is literally one of my favorite
he actually, I
characters.
believe, I have read something that he is actually supposed to be in this next movie. It's actually supposed to be Shocker and Vulture, I believe, in the next movie. Don't 100% quote me, but I read a lot of stuff every day. But I do remember them talking
Yes.
about they actually have a person cast for it, and they had some preliminary costume footage of the Shocker as well. So
Okay.
that's out there. I believe I was on IO9 not too far long ago. So you may get your wish.
Okay. I hope so
Get your
because
wish.
he's one of my favorite characters. He's definitely one of my favorite characters,
Carnage would be
especially
another
out the
good one.
animated.
Carnage would be
This
another
is
good one
what
too.
this is what I wish they would have did with the Tobey Maguire series. That's the third movie. Okay, if he had to fight Sandman and had to fight the Goblin, okay, fine. I could have dealt with that. Just tied it right up the story better. If they were going to introduce the Venom aspect, fine. But do like they did with the show. At the end of the movie, that's when he loses his Venom suit. And then like how Eddie Brock got it in the movie, that should have been like the little scene at the end of that movie to set up
Exactly.
for a fourth movie.
Well, and the original Venom came from Secret Wars. If you've ever read that series, where Spider-Man basically, where a character named Beyonder comes in, he takes all the world's heroes, all the world's villains, puts them on a world called Battle World, and then they
Yes,
go
I heard
fighting
of it.
each other. And Spider-Man gets his suit all tore up, and he notices one of the other characters got his suit repaired. And he goes, "Oh well, let me see what happens. What can I do?" And he goes in there, and this it's all this alien technology around, and he ends up getting the suit. But what he didn't know at that time was the suit was a symbiote.
Yeah,
He had the web shooters that were built in, because it was the symbiote shooting itself out. And eventually,
yeah,
after Secret Wars ended and he came back to Earth, then he started having the problems of noticing, his alter ego starting to show up and starting to do bad things. That Reed Richards actually realized, hey, there's some kind of creature on him, and the only way we're going to get him off. And they finally realized that the vibrations, which you saw in the third movie, is how he
yeah.
got him off. Well, that's what he figured out, and he was able to pull Venom off of Peter Parker and contain it. And that's
Yeah.
where the symbiote got the vengeance thing. That's why, Venom kind of went after him, because he was pissed off. He was happy, and then he made him go away. So,
Yeah.
the movies have some ill representation. I mean, kind of the same thing happened, but in a much different order and a little bit different way. And I think they could have, Secret Wars would have been the whole movie itself.
I could have went behind the whole Venom aspect of how he got there, because I didn't like how Venom got there. I could have got behind it if, say, he did fall down in a meteor and crash somewhere, and then that corporation, I can't remember what it's called,
Oscorp.
Yeah, if Oscorp had got a hold of that meteor and experimented on it.
Yeah, and that would have been great to see that happen.
Yeah, that would have made a lot more sense. So, okay. So as far as in media, we've kind of established, DC is in the lead in certain areas, even though Marvel seems to be more prevalent in the areas that it is dominating.
Yeah, they're looking for their target audience, and that's the younger crowd that's out there. The little kids, the teenagers, and the younger adults is where they're hitting it. I mean, granted, I'm 42 years old, so I've been around comics a long time. I'm seeing, I'm happy that I'm seeing these characters show up, but as an adult, you kind of sway more to the butt kicking, the darker, gritty stuff, and you kind of fall like, let's go to the DC world for a little while and enjoy some violence. We'll still come back to the Marvel world, but Marvel's funny. It's great. Yeah. They have good stories, but I think a lot of people are swaying towards the DC world. But again, DC right now is not putting out what I think they could. They're running a lot longer into production schedules and trying to get their stuff together, and they're very slow in developing their storylines for their series in Justice League. I mean, a lot of people are really wanting it right now. I want my Justice League right now, but they're just taking time in doing it.
And it seems like Marvel's to the point now where they're putting out like 2 or 3 movies a year.
At least I think their schedule is at least 3 movies for the next 5 years. So
yeah, they're doing it.
And they're pushing it. They got the director staff, they got the continuity, and I think that's what helps them save some money too, because they're simultaneously filming other things at the same time, because they're actually tied in together. So it's saving them some coin in production as well. Where DC right now is still individual story. Now we're starting to look for the Justice League to come out in 2 years. For lucky.
Yeah, I think I've looked at their little roster of movies that got coming out. I think they do need to put out more.
They do. They need to really catch up on their movies, even if they're doing more side stories, like Knockout. I think they're actually supposed to have Cyborg and Flash crossover in the same movie. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's pretty much done and just waiting to be post production and released, and that looks good. That looks phenomenal from what I've seen so far. So, but they need to at least get that 2 to 3 movies. They need to get them out. They need to get them out there. They need to get that audience. They need to capture that audience and do it. But that's where Marvel is really kicking their butt right now.
I do think they need to focus on more characters too, because for the characters that they have established so far, they got movies for. But all the other characters that they have, Green Lantern, which I'm not sure if you like. I don't know if you like that Green Lantern movie they had.
No, not too thrilled.
I didn't like it. I wasn't too thrilled. One thing I did like about it was I did like the suit. Even though it was like heavily CGI, I was like, well, they're using this type of energy power. It would make sense for the suit to kind of exude that same energy.
Well, that's what happened in the comic series. The suit was from the Ring. It was one and the same. It was his protection and barrier. So in that case, it was good. I like the fact that they were a little creative in some of the stuff that he created and got in there, but it just did not grip me. It just did not bring me into the movie. I bought a Green Lantern shirt. I was ready for it, and I felt very shortchanged after that movie. So
I think it had to do a lot with the story, some of the acting, and like that movie was kind of more comedic, and I think that was one of the things that kind of brought it down too.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is great,
as well as the over.
Not Hal Jordan.
He nailed it. But I also think that they did an overuse of CGI. They had so much CGI, and a lot of it felt unnecessary.
Yeah, when you like look at
Like when he was
movies
on.
like say George Lucas again, at the time he was creating things, he did the best what he could, but he envisioned more. And when he made episode 1, 2, and
Mhm.
3, CGI was a prominent factor, and that to me was what took away from the movies that made them
Yeah,
cartoony,
that
and
yes,
it just made me mad. You could have a great story, but they just over cartooned everything, and it just drove me away from that series. I cannot really even watch episode 1, 2, and 3. If they had used it more appropriately, like say, I need 1,000 robot soldiers, great. It's not practical to
yes,
build them. Okay. When you look
but not
at
everything.
J.J. Abrams, who just made the in episode 7,
Hmm.
what was his goal? He went all practical unless absolutely unnecessary, and then he did
Yes,
CGI. And that again,
yeah,
that's what brought that movie in. These characters were
yes,
real; they were there. You could touch them. And the thing is, that's with movies. There's you practical is expensive, but when you're looking at a quality of a movie and you really want to bring it out, practical is the way to go. Limit your CGI. You don't want to make it cartoony. It's just not good for you. It
yeah.
draws the audience away. I mean, little kids will love it, but that core audience who's going to go see that movie more than one time is going to be looking for the practical, hardcore effects, and that's what they're looking for. So
All right then. Well, we've covered some of the basics. Well, as far as DC versus Marvel in medium when it comes to the television, movies, and video games. We haven't talked about any of the characters or any of the arcs, but I would love for you to join me again, where we do actually get a chance to compare characters, compare storylines, compare powers, superhero teams, supervillain teams, things like that.
the Legion of
That sounds like a
Doom.
plan.
I would love to. I've had a blast so far. Now I was just looking at. We were talking about how many movies a year they're going to pump out for DC. We're looking at
Yes.
right now. I see Wonder Woman and Justice League in 2017, Flash and
Hmm.
Aquaman in 2018. So they're dumping out 2 movies right there a year. We'll see Shazam, which will be an interesting movie. Again, obscure character, unless
Yes.
you were
Yes.
a kid in a back then in my time frame, because I remember Shazam as a live TV series. Justice League, the second part in 2019. So we have a
Yes.
lot of movies hitting. Again, your core Justice League stuff is coming out with an obscurity with Shazam. So they're trying to play catch up. But I think if I looked at the Marvel,
Yes.
we'd probably see 3 movies a year from now till 2020. So,
Yes.
but we'll catch
So
up on that
Marvel,
on
even
one of
though
our other
DC is trying to
discussions.
catch up.
Yeah,
Yes,
DC's got
sir.
a lot to do.
I,
We definitely.
yes, they absolutely do. But hey, all of y'all DC fans out there, the movies are coming. They are definitely coming. I did have a blast with you on this discussion. I definitely want to get back up with you. And guys, again, this is Ken Phillips. He's just a totally awesome guy. Any information about where anybody could reach you on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, LinkedIn, go ahead and just let them know.
Well, I would have to get them all together because I don't really use that social media as much right now. So I will throw that on our next movie, our next video that we do, and we'll have some information and get a hold of me that way.
Okay, sweet. I can definitely dig that. And like I said before, definitely appreciate you. Next time we'll probably try to bring in Lakeisha or Zach. They're familiar with the channel. They shot videos with me on this channel. But I guess we'll just go ahead and end it here. And guys, once again, thank you for joining us. This is me, NarikChase. This is Ken Phillips. Join us again for another Break of the Base, guys.
Take it easy, everybody.
All right, then.